Endermen have been griefing my Minecraft world for months, so to stop them I've been building 25 farms that will give me materials for this machine that will stop mobs from spawning. In the last video we built 15 farms, so we have 10 to go, but they are tough. Mostly the wither skeleton farm that takes hours, but it supplies us with the 100 withers we need for the machine, so let's get to work on farm number 16. This first farm is one I bet you have never seen, a cat gift farm. This will get us a new 1.18 item. See, whenever you sleep next to a tame cat, you have a 70% chance for them to drop you an item. Some items are like feathers, string, and rabbit's foot, but what we are really looking for is rabbit hide. There are no rabbits in this world because it is in a 100 by 100 border, so the only way to get hide is from cats. These are used for the new bundle items, and since we can't get shulker boxes in this world, I really want a lot of them, so I'll have to sleep a lot. That led me to build this stasis chamber that, every time it turns night, teleports me to the bed. My Minecraft character has a better sleep schedule than me. But it's not a Jaron video without failure. The farm works fine, great even, but apparently the bundle item wasn't added to the game. Like, this item has now been delayed 3 times. And yes, I did build this on Christmas. No, I don't need help. But on to farm number 17, a geode farm. This is going to end up being a nice chamber where I can come down and easily harvest these geode clusters to craft tinted glass. Now, digging out this room took a lot longer than this time lapse makes it seem because, oh my gosh, these amethyst buds are so easy to break if you don't take it slow. Like, once I break them, they're gone. They're gone for good, and I don't want to run out of them. So I'm over here with a pickaxe I can dang near insta-mine everything, and I click for too long, and now everything's broken. And for some reason, I was watching a Spider-Man interview while I was mining out this geode, so every time I look at this thing, I can't stop thinking about Andrew Garfield. So anyways, I think it looks really nice. The first floor feels like a little lobby with these windows and lanterns, and the top is supposed to look like an attic. Mostly because I don't want to mine out anymore, but I think it looks better that way. So on to farm number 18, a moss farm, one we totally 100% need, and not because I'm putting off the wither skeleton farm. The design I ended up using had to be modified a bit. The original design by Dusty Dude is actually a farm that makes moss, but then turns it into bone meal all by itself. Here's the thing though, this mob farm over here, the most expensive one, makes way more bone meal than this ever could, which now that I'm thinking about it, when we stop all the mobs from spawning, this farm becomes useless. Well, we're in too deep now, so let's just keep this thing going. So back to my little explanation. We're going to build this moss farm, but just remove the composter contraption here. And that's about it. It's a really interesting design, like props to Dusty Dude. This lava right here constantly supplies this moss block with stone. The moss up here is then bone mealed, it turns the stone to moss, and it gets destroyed. Now I just want you to know, this moss farm works amazing. It is flawless, it looks cool. I just want you to feel good thinking about this moss farm. So I can shatter that all with a copper farm. Yeah, this farm is turning into a mess. Some of you keen viewers might think, hey, didn't he make an entire YouTube short about making a copper farm back when 1.17 was released? Yeah, but the moment I uploaded that video, I realized that, oopsie, when I updated my Minecraft world to 1.17, the entire nether reset. Luckily, 10 hours later, I finally fixed the nether, but sadly I used a world backup that didn't include the copper farm. Dang. So we're going to be rebuilding this disaster because it never really worked in the first place. In its simplest form, a copper farm has zombies spawn and then they drown and turn into, well, drowns. If drowns are killed, they have a 17% chance to drop copper. So first up for the farm is linking the 2 zombie spawners we have together. Now they kinda already are. You see, Colin months ago made a Plants vs Zombies game that, which I now have said in nearly every video, doesn't work. The remains of it still stand, but it's being decommissioned. So once the zombies take this path, I'm going to have them go up this tube. This is different from last time because I just dropped them into a pool of water. That didn't drown them much because they would swim and sometimes the babies would escape. It didn't work. So instead they will come up this tube, go around the zombie spawner, oops, and enter this drowning chamber. Kinda yoinked the design from Eli Plays the Craft and it works good enough. Now as for the raids of the copper farm, I'll give it this. It has an extremely constant stream of zombies. That is impressive. But only like 1 in 5 of them drop copper, so I'm not going to be building a wreck wrap copper house anytime soon. And the farm looks like trash. 2 out of 10. And with that, it is time for us to build the wither skeleton farm. And by that I mean build a nether tree farm. See, I'd like to decorate the farms in the nether with some nether wood, and manual labor is the bane of my existence, so we're gonna make it automatic. So with the materials for an Eagle Eye 621 nether tree farm, there's nothing else to do but build. Wow, that was fast. It's very similar to the regular tree farm over on this side, it just doesn't have the leaf crusher. Instead, they just kind of stack, I think. When I'm done AFKing, there's just a tall tree of leaves, but it works great. The only problem is I can run out of crimson fungus quite fast, so you know what that means, a crimson fungus farm. Nope, I am not building a crimson fungus farm. No one ever needs one of those. All we're gonna do is replace one block of grass with Nylium in my flower farm, and we now have plenty. There is no need for a fungus farm, but there is need for a ghast farm. We're gonna build the wither skeleton farm soon, I swear. I just need this farm so I can get some ghast tears to brew a potion. I'm not gonna say what potion yet, cause it's a little embarrassing. Actually, this whole farm is embarrassing, cause there's one really big flaw with this farm, and I want to see if you can guess what it is. So I'm coming over here to build the farm, and it's going to be really high up in the sky. That's so it can run a lot faster because nothing below the bedrock and in the gold farm will spawn. To be frank, this is a bit more of a tedious farm to build. Placing wood, placing rails, activating them with levers. Oh, was that the mistake? Nope, guess again. Then to finish this farm, you just place down some magma blocks, wither rows, and on top of it some glass. Just like that, this farm is done. And nothing is spawning. So maybe I'm too close to it, so that's why nothing's spawning. But now I'm all the way out here and nothing. One quick check of the wiki later and you gotta be kidding me. We built this in the wrong biome. That was the embarrassing mistake. Me building an entire farm and it not working. One quick rebuild later, it's really scuffed. Yeah, extremely scuffed. But here's the thing, I made another mistake. I wanted ghast tears to make healing potions for the wither skeleton farm. If there were ever a lot of them, I could throw the potion and easily kill them because they're like dead and stuff and like healing hurts them. I don't know. But ghast tears make regeneration potions. That'd be like slow poison to kill them all, which just wouldn't do the job. So for the healing potions we wanted, we only needed glistering melons, which guess what? Can be traded for from villagers. Guess what kind of villagers sell them? Farmers, which we have 30 of them. To make matters worse, I don't even see this farm work. I only know it works because I hear the painful noise of gas dying. This farm is lame, and I would do anything other than fix this farm, which is why, in my darkest time, I turned to the wither skeleton farm. Normally, to start a wither skeleton farm, you need to spawn-proof everything within a range of the farm. That takes ages to do because you're placing slabs everywhere, so I'm hoping that since we're in a 100x100 world, we don't really have to. So what I did to start the farm was mine out this area, but blazes keep shooting at me. So to combat that, we're going to try mining with constant fire resistance and invisibility. Finally, the brewing area has some use because quite quickly I was able to get those effects for over an hour. Those potions are helpful because fire resistance just makes blazes not a threat, and the reason for going invisible is it cuts the range mobs can detect you in half. After that, mining was quite, well, I don't want to say easy, but it's not as hard. Some of you might know in this world, netherrack is limited. Do I ever think we'll run out? No, absolutely not. But while I'm mining this out, I feel guilty for not collecting it for safekeeping. But this then becomes a pain to store as you collect netherrack pretty fast. So I'm just always going back and forth from the storage barrels in the hole because, I don't know, I'm paranoid. But the farm is now mined out. All it needs is a little nether brick trim around it. I also added a little bit of glass and netherrack. It looks nice, but it's pure function. Its only purpose is to block the wither skeletons from coming and killing me. Now the bigger grindy parts of the farm are done, but that doesn't mean the small technical parts are quick. First I need to get a piglin to put in the middle. Once I got the piglin, I needed to name it so it wouldn't despawn. And you know, I built this farm the day part 1 of this project came out, so I just picked a commenter. This was the most recent one, and I thought it was really funny because I thought it was George Davis IV, but it's actually George Davis IV. So welcome to the world, Mr. George. Then, while watching the next few steps of the tutorial, George Davis IV was brutally murdered by a blaze in cold blood. This is a tragedy that will be remembered by every 100x100 viewer. If we could, while I build a new protective wall, have a moment of silence. But let's be honest, the naming scheme makes him easily replaceable. If you could please welcome George Davis V to the 100x100 world. That's the farm mostly done. Once you surround your second favorite piglin and wither roses, it's just some piping, redstone, and dogs. And just like that, the easy part for the farm is done. Now, the hard part. Since I didn't mob proof any of the nether, this thing barely works. But I don't want to talk about mob proofing, so here's slabbing the nether, placing lava at the bottom of the world, and disabling the blaze spawner. So on to farm number 23, which is a honey farm for the 10x10 piston door. Now we do currently have a honey farm, but it broke and I'm not sure why. I could rebuild the farm, but I want to try a new design by IanX04. If you aren't familiar with IanX04, you will be very familiar after an upcoming video. Can't say much though, I like to keep things secret. What he does is he makes farms that are incredibly fast, faster than other farm designs, but you can make these things in like half an hour. There's a wither skeleton farm you can make in 30 minutes. Sadly, I couldn't make that one because I don't have the turtle eggs, but no time for pouting, we're gonna make a honey farm. First though, we need some bees. If we come up to Beetopia, there should be a room where I can breed some bees for the farm. Which, fun fact, this sanctuary for bees currently has the most bee deaths on this server. I just have to breed the bees with flowers, which is a throwback to farm number 1, but slowly I'm getting enough. except for when they started flying out of Beetopia. That wasn't supposed to happen. We don't have all the bees yet, but there's enough bees to get this farm started. Even once the farm is built, you can still breed more bees inside, so what we have will do. Which, like, that's like another pure great design choice by Ian Exofor. Like, this guy is brilliant. And get this, in 15 minutes, I had this thing complete. Even though I built the farm twice, because I didn't like where it was the first time. It's that fast. I'm telling you, these are fast farms. All it does is cycle a few bottles around the hives and collect the honey. No complex redstone. So with a bit of waiting, a little bit of stealing, there's enough honey for the piston door. How I want this layout is to have the mob switch here. I have the exact coordinates of where it needs to be because it has to be around a 3x3 thing of bedrock. Then the piston door is the entrance to the mob switch. But due to how the door works, it has to be like 15 or I think 17 blocks up, so there will be a staircase in between them. So this entire build, mob switch, and door will be underground. That means one thing. Lots of mining. To be exact, lots of deep slate mining, so this is going to take a lot longer. First, I had to clear up an entire lava lake. At first, I was placing blocks, slowly removing them, but at some point, I just decided to swim in the lava. Like, I can do that now. It made it way easier to clean up all the lava, and I could start actually mining out the room. If you're familiar with flying machines, that's basically how this door works. To build this, we first needed honey from our farm, and then slime, obsidian, target blocks, and some redstone. And let me tell you, getting everything ready for this build like this was super easy, because I have a farm for all of those items you just saw. The part that looks like the door is even going to be made from iron, which I just have a farm for. The obsidian goes to the top here and along the sides. The target blocks, observers, and pistons are all down here, and the honey and slime help move the actual door part. But this process was very slow, checking and double checking I had everything right. Something goes wrong, I have to rebuild most of the door. So if the door works, it comes down to this. I pressed the button and things started moving and working. As it was closing, I was just running through a quick mental checklist of all the parts. The observers were the right way, the slime and honey were patterned correctly, and the obsidian was at the top of the door frame to stop it. But that's when I realized, right when the door closed, the obsidian was on the wrong side. So the door closed one block too high, and now I'm rebuilding the whole thing. Luckily, it was just the flying machine part. The redstone on the wall was fine. It's fixed. The door is fixed and it works quite well. I am a little scared to like start it every now and then because I'm like, oh, I really don't want it to break, but it's kind of fun to open. I really like it. Once I finished that, as you can see, I raised the stair ceiling and made the walls out of quartz. That was just purchased from our stonemasons. Also, there's a hole in the wall, but that has a purpose. I'll show you soon. But let's come down these stairs as this is where we're going to build the final farms. Honestly, like 5 minutes ago, I didn't know where I was putting these, so yeah, here works. The last two are going to make us some decoration items, so the farms aren't that big. The first one, farm number 24, is going to be a glowberry farm. I made the room it was going to be in, simple stuff, but what would make it look really nice is a piston door. I tried a regular 3x3 design, but I realized half the redstone would be seen, so I opted to make an etho door. Redstoning this door and really anything else just always makes a mess. So much so I ended up needing to redecorate the entire room. And then for the farm, the easiest one of the entire video. Done in 2 minutes, all it does is bone meal this glowberry plant and I harvest it. Which I talk about how long these videos take to record and that you should subscribe because I put so much time into it, but if I just didn't make these dumb doors and decorations, I could be done a lot faster. But also, look how fun this is. Then, the final farm before the mob switch is built is a glow lichen farm. Riveting. Honestly, same story as the glowberry farm. I built another etho door and this farm is pretty much the same. It just spams bone meal onto glow lichen and I harvest it. And these two farms were needed for this acorn looking hole. Currently is a sketchy staircase to get out of this area, but we need something with class. Like a sewer. So we're going to have a big hole in the ground that you can fall down and get to the 10x10 door. Also midway through, I asked Tyson if I could borrow his pickaxe. He let me. I'm not sure if it's faster, but it makes me feel better. Mining deep slate is a pain. One method for mining deep slate faster is using moss blocks, but I feel like I can't because deep slate is a limited item and I really like deep slate tiles, so I don't want to run out. But that's the sewer done. It doesn't scream sewer at me. That was the plan, but I settled it looking like this instead. So now for the big mob switch. Over the course of this video, I collected 210 wither skeleton skulls for the farm, so it's time to build. First up is removing all the bedrock in this area except for the 3x3 platform. To do so, I'll be using this setup here, the Mysticat one. It's a safe method if you have blast protection armor, but it's like a 50-50 chance if it works for me. That made this take forever and way more expensive than it should be. See, sand for the TNT is kind of a limited item in the world, and the only way to get it infinitely is from wandering traders, which is rare if they sell it. So I'm not a huge fan of crafting with it. So to put off crafting with sand, I started using some leftover TNT we had from breaking bedrock in the nether and some red sand I found in the chests, but sadly I had to start destroying an ecosystem. You know, casual ecocide. And you know, one ecocide isn't enough. Do you remember all that deep slate we mined out and put into chests? Since it's so high value, we obviously put it in a safe space. Except I blew it all up. Once I destroyed all the bedrock from the sides, it was then I had to Google new methods of breaking bedrock. The current method would break the bedrock underneath, but there's bedrock above it, so that doesn't work. So I used a method that would break it from the side. It's kind of the same idea, but now I just have to maneuver around the bedrock to be able to reach the places I need to be, but it all worked out. But by the end, breaking all this bedrock was getting tiring. I had done this for 2.5 hours straight. But it's finally the last block and I am just scraping through materials. I'm nearly out of TNT, using any blocks I could to set things up. Like, I'm the first person to ever break bedrock with brown terracotta. The final block, it worked. I'm done. It's 8 p.m. and I haven't eaten dinner. I'm gonna go take a break. But with the power of editing, it's the next day. I can never escape this purgatory. I set up the chamber that are going to hold the withers under the bedrock. All I have to do is spawn them now. But this chamber better work and hold them all, because I don't want 70 withers escaping and blowing up my world. This isn't supposed to be lifesteal. But there isn't much point in making it seem like everything is going to go wrong. Cause guess what? No withers escaped, and the mob switch was done. But due to this machine, the world is now constantly darker, and there's these ugly boss bars. Still worth it, as no enderman will come in and grief my builds. Except things are still falling out of the mob farm. This would happen for a little bit because some of them were already spawned, but the mobs keep spawning. That shouldn't happen. The mob cap is filled, but they still spawn. So, this is kind of a weird point in the video. We just spent the last 2 videos making 25 farms, and this final project doesn't even work. If you know why, please comment, but there's nothing else to do. And to make things worse, Endermen are still griefing the sewer!